What happens when you have 50 million people on a platform? We can face a government head on. We can look a corporation in the eye and say, if you don't flip your stance on this issue, Palestine, Congo, slave labor, whatever it may be, then we can move hundreds of millions of dollars away from you overnight. This isn't just a dream. It's real. It's happening right now. We are creating an economy powered by the people and not corporations. A system where every single purchase is a vote, a tool, where a decision can change everything. Because they've spoken the language of money far too long. And now we speak it louder. My name is Adil, and I am the founder of Boycat, your ethical shopping companion. Since I was younger, I was obsessed with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The pyramid that basically talks about from, at the very bottom you talk about survivability, things that people need like food, water, shelter, clothes, things like that. And as you go up the ladder, or up these levels of this hierarchy, you go from less needs to more wants, where at the very peak it's self-actualization, where it's self-esteem and things that people want to feel good about themselves and things like that, reaching their full potential. And I noticed that working in big tech and in business and social media and the new tools that are happening out, a lot of them tackle the very peak and the pinnacle of this pyramid. But my heart was always drawn towards the bottom, where I wanted to look at the problems that people were facing in terms of surviving, in terms of having a bed to sleep on, in terms of having food on their plate. And having that in mind, and being a Muslim and having Islam be such an important core component of my life and how I do things, it really drove me in a direction where I wanted to make sure I had created change for that. I started my first business when I was like 13, 14, something like that. And I was basically able to finish college when I was 19. And I wanted to build. I just knew I wanted to build. I didn't want to go to med school. My brother is the proud doctor of the family. I wanted to tackle the problem of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When October happened, I realized that, most historically speaking, things lasted for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks it would stop. But this time in Palestine, it didn't stop. And every day I was wondering, what can I do on this side of the world to help? What can someone do in the middle of nowhere to help those that are suffering from things dropping on top of them, from their homes being destroyed, from them being displaced, and from these horrific war crimes that are happening? And I started thinking, and I started doing, a lot of self-reflection. I was wondering, why weren't these protests working? Why weren't these emails working? Why weren't people listening to us? And simply speaking, it's because we weren't speaking the same language as them. Governments and corporations weren't hearing us. It was like talking to a brick wall. And I realized at the time that they were speaking the language of money, and we weren't. So my goal became, how can I empower someone to understand and speak the same language as them, so that they can have a voice at the table? And this is the cheesy part, but during Tahajjud one night, I had a dream where I was arguing with someone about why they bought Starbucks. And in the dream, the person said to me, I didn't know. There's no alternative, and 1 cup, it doesn't matter. And I woke up like that, and the next 3 years of my life flashed by. I knew exactly what to do, and I had to solve this problem. I had to solve the problem of allowing someone to realize their purchasing power. And I wanted to break it down into feasible, tangible goals and milestones to hit. The first problem that I wanted to solve was, how can I educate someone without relying on the media cycle? Because the moment the media ends, people stop caring. It's happened in the past. Think of every major event, every major cause. Once the media ends, it stops, and I needed to solve that. And the second was, there's 1,000 alternatives that exist, or 1,000 startups that are building alternatives. They simply need a platform. And lastly, how do you change someone's behavior? Because consumerism is habitual. You buy things you're comfy with. you continuously buy things that are convenient. So you need to learn how to change behavior. And that is when Boycat idea came alive. I wanted to create a tool that allowed anyone to search, scan, find brands, find the historical, political ties of brands and companies and people and services, whatever it is. I wanted them to find alternatives, and I wanted them to gamify it as much as possible, where it didn't feel like a job and it didn't feel like something you had to do, but rather you would do it just because it was there. It was easy, it was effortless. And so the problem, in a simple sentence, is simply, I wanted to empower people to shop ethically, effortlessly. And my solution to that was Boycat. So in November, I taught myself how to code. I used AI tools, YouTube videos, I watched Harvard videos, Stanford videos, whatever was available online just to learn how to code. I knew that everyone had a mobile phone. Like, the vast majority of spenders, they have smartphones. And if I could tap into a network where it's so easy, where at the, glance of a phone you'd understand what you should and shouldn't buy, what you can buy instead, what your friends are doing, what impact you're having, and so on from there, like I could solve this problem and I could empower someone to understand their person's power. That's when it happened. Built that up in December and launched in January, and was able to bring 2 of my friends along as well. And it went viral, like instantly, like right away. First day we had 1,000 downloads off of one Instagram reel or something. And we weren't even allowed on Google Play Store at the time, and so that was amazing to me. And so, having some viral growth, we just started building, and like the product roadmap just fell into place. Like every single thing I wanted to build, it was there. And the motivation to build it was there. Like I was able to help people stop buying things. We were able to get people to start avoiding Nestle, avoiding Coca-Cola, all these companies that were complicit in the war crimes that were going on. I didn't imagine it would ever hit this scale, because initially it was something I was like, maybe everyone in my community can use, and that would be cool. So as the weeks went by, and as we kept developing, working our full-time jobs, I was on the news. I was on Al Jazeera, TRT, or Turkish Anadolu, a couple other places. Those interviews started getting circulated in my work group chats. I had coworkers and people sending me links and videos. And, shortly after that, actually it was very interesting, I got called in to the office where I was basically told a couple of reasons of not being technically skilled and not helping the business achieve its goals, and not having a product growth mindset. And they basically parroted that for the next couple of weeks, and I was fired. And everyone sacrificed something. Everyone's always given up something, especially for this cause. I've seen people get fired all the time. I've seen people do things, but it's hard to imagine just the impact until it happens to you. And that was a turning point for me, because now I didn't have income. I didn't have things that could help me sustain my family, myself. I didn't have money to spend on, just server costs or whatever it was. So I tweeted. That's the most logical thing a 25-year-old could do. Just tweet. I tweeted about it. I said that myself and the one other Muslim person at my company got fired. And went to bed. And it went viral overnight. I woke up with job offers from 30 or 40 different CEOs across the US, Canada, UK, Saudi Arabia, everywhere. And I prayed istikhara, and I decided not to take a single job offer. I knew that this was something special. I knew, one, that I was fired because I was doing something right. And 2, I knew that God gave me the opportunity to go on this full time. It was an opportunity to pursue something that was actively going to change the world. Because my dreams didn't just stop at the idea that I could help realize personal power with Palestine, but I could educate people and I could teach people about the many causes around the world that whoever's oppressed, we have to support them. We can hold corporations and governments accountable as long as we can organize people. Information is easy. Information is super easy. You can create an information hub anywhere. There are millions of information hubs. But organizing people is really hard, and we're the only ones that can do it. We're the only ones that have done it. There are multiple initiatives with boycotts and redirections and stuff like that, and they're all great. But if you cannot retain and you cannot, create an environment where it's continuous effort, where it doesn't end when there's a ceasefire, it ends when the occupation ends, then you're actually doing a little bit more harm than good, in my opinion. You have to create things in a sustainable way that will outlive you. My goal is to make Boycat outlive me completely. It needs to outlive us because it's needed for the world. It needs to be the way that we can hold these places accountable, make companies more ethical, and make sure our purchasing power matters. So fast forward, I created the proper startup where we're going to make this outlive us. We have a roadmap for the next, 24 months. We started getting investors and we started working on a proper plan where we can work on this full time. Where currently we're in the middle of a raise right now, and it's difficult. It's not easy. It came with challenges. We were taken off the Google Play Store, and within 2 days we were, reinstated back because there was claims that mass reports that we gave misinformation when clearly we used 3 different sources. 2 of them were from Israeli newspapers about a certain brand. And VCs won't touch us. 99% of them, they're all tied to the Zionist entity. Most Muslim VCs, I even talked to a Muslim VC based in the US, and they said, "We love what you're doing. Someone has to do it, but we cannot support you." And simply just because they're tied. And, that hurt because it's your own community. It's your own community that happened. And, 2-3 weeks later, some Palestinian asked me, "You're not Palestinian, so why are you doing this?" If you ask a child in Gaza right now for help, he's not going to care about the color of your skin, where you're from, what religion you are. He's just going to ask for help. And he's going to be grateful for those that helped him. I think that solidified everything I wanted to do. He was a prominent figure too, known in the community and so on from there. And so, fast forward some more, and I've gotten the opportunity to speak around the world, in the Middle East, in Europe, in America. I've gotten the opportunity to share Boycat and grow teams and grow the entire movement and become the official partner of the BDS movement, which, they've never had a partner like us before. We're the first app to ever do it. And our goal is to unify as many people together and organize them in a proper strategic manner and create change that will outlive us. We are at 1.5 million people across our platforms of extension, app, marketplace, whatever. We've been able to divest over $150 million away from the Israeli economy. My goal is to 10x that this year, where we can move that number every month and make sure we are supporting the most ethical companies possible, which is why we brought on Boycat. What does the future look like? Well, the one word I can say is it's inspiration. I am making sure that we build in a way that we can integrate into your life, where it's so effortless and easy that there's no excuse not to. And there's no excuse not to learn about other causes and supporting other people. Our goal is to be the primary figure and the one that can help change the condition of those and support them and be the voice that they don't have. Your purchasing power matters, and it's very important that we can enable that and help you realize that. After watching this, I want you to be inspired that you can be a beacon of change. I do not think I'm special in any way. I don't think I have anything that you don't. There is a passage in the Quran for me where there's this Prophet Yusuf at the time. He said right after he got out of jail, "Put me in charge of the treasury. Because I'm knowledgeable and I am trustworthy." And it wasn't because he was arrogant he said that. Rather, it was humbleness, that he realized that he had the talents and the skills to make sure he could lead the treasury and save the nation. And in that same way, I recognized I was gifted the skills, the talents, the friends, the resources, the connections, the opportunity, the time. I mean, my mom supports me endlessly. She literally wears the Boycat mascot that you see in the videos. I am taken care of gratefully for my friends and my family. I have the opportunity to make a change, and there's nothing worse than when something ends and you realize that you could have done way more, that you didn't live up to your potential, and that is what scares me a lot. I know that I have the ability to create change, and so I'm going to do everything in my power, from learning how to code, from learning how to build, from leading friends that became business partners, from traveling the world to speak at different places about what the effects of boycotting, why you should be unified, why you should understand your purchasing power and how to build alternatives. You should be inspired. You have the capacity and capability to do so. You can be the reason that there is change. You can be the reason that the suffering in Gaza. You just have to do your part. No one's asking you to do something so grand where you're overwhelmed, but just do your part. And right now, that's how you spend your money. So understand how you spend your money and support us as we continue to grow. We're the most unconventional startup out there. We can't raise funds normally. We're struggling to do so, actually. We are working on this full time. We've given up opportunity in the future of tech. We probably can never get hired in major tech again, just based off what we've built. So we took the sacrifice and the step forward. So we need you to also make sure to check us out on all social media. Obviously get the app, get the web extension, check out our website, and continue to support us, because it's something we have to do for the people in Palestine, for the people in Gaza, and for all those oppressed around the world. In the end, the power has always been ours, and it's time that we use it.